A while ago, I asked ChatGPT to build me a website. It handed me 2,000 lines of code. And then, very politely, it added one line at the end. Please paste all of the above into your project. It said that like it had already clocked out for the day, and whatever happens next is officially not its problem. But the real change in GPT 5.6 is this. It can now open a web browser by itself, click by itself, and test things by itself. When the layout breaks, it can actually go back and fix it. So in this video, I'm not going to read you a wall of benchmark scores that nobody understands. Instead, I'm going to run 3 real tasks in front of you, plus 1 bonus, so you can see what a normal person can actually get this thing to do. No hype, just the screen. First, the naming. GPT 5.6 this time is not just one single model. It comes in 3 flavors, Sol, Terra, and Luna. And yes, those are the Sun, the Earth, and the Moon. And I know, the second you saw the name Luna, some of you in crypto just flinched. Relax. This is not the 2022 Luna that dropped 90% in a single day. You don't need to buy the dip, and nobody is asking you to rebuild a blockchain from the ashes. The easiest way to picture these 3 names is to think of them as 3 types of employees at a company. Sol is the senior lead. It's built for frontier reasoning and long, complex jobs, the hardest research, the serious coding, and the big multi-step projects. Terra is your regular full-time staff. It's the balanced everyday model, roughly matching the last generation's quality, but at about half the cost. Reliable, quick, and good for most tasks that aren't rocket science. And Luna is the fast, cheap intern. It's the lightest and most affordable of the 3, built for high-volume, repetitive work. Sorting, tagging, classifying, extracting, the boring stuff you'd never want to do by hand. And if you think that employee analogy is a stretch, look at the actual price tags. Due to API, Sol costs $5 per million tokens in and 30 out. Terra is half of that, $2.50 in, 15 out. And Luna, the intern, is just $1 in, 6 out. So the senior lead really is the pricey one, and the intern really is the bargain. But here's the part that a huge number of people get wrong. When you open ChatGPT like you normally do, you will not see 3 buttons labeled Sol, Terra, and Luna. In the normal chat window, those options you see, medium, high, extra high, they are all running on Sol underneath. Terra and Luna are mostly the ones you pick inside work, inside Codex, or through the API. So on a paid plan, most everyday users are quietly talking to Sol the whole time. So Luna's real mission this time is not to send your savings to 0. Its job is to shrink OpenAI's bill on all the cheap, high-volume tasks. That is the whole joke. Same name, opposite outcome. Now I have to make one thing clear early, because so many explainer videos jump straight into a mess. They mix up the web version, the desktop app, and the API, all in the same breath. The ChatGPT web version you already use every day still does everything you'd expect. You can chat, upload files, and pick medium or high, and on a paid plan, underneath that is GPT 5.6 Sol. And the good news is, work is now reachable on the web too. You are no longer forced to download the desktop app just to get it. But here's where the difference really shows up. If you want the AI to directly operate the browser on your computer, your Excel, your slides, or even other desktop software, then you need the desktop app on Windows or Mac. In fact, OpenAI folded Codex into a revamped desktop app, so chat, work, and Codex now live in one unified interface with a built-in browser. So the simplest way to hold it in your head is this. The web version researches, analyzes, and produces the finished result. The desktop version does all of that, and on top of it, it can reach out and physically touch your computer. That last part sounds a little scary, and honestly it should. So when we get to permissions later, please do not just click allow on everything without reading it. Keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, operation 1, the simplest one, the plain web chat. And I'm not going to ask it the useless question, hey, do you think my website is any good? Because the AI is polite. If you ask it that, it'll say something like, your website has a lot of potential. Translated into human, that means it has no idea where to even begin fixing it. So instead, I gave it a real instruction. Don't compliment me. Find 3 reasons a visitor would close this tab and leave. And this is where GPT 5.6 actually earns its keep. It reads the screenshot, it understands what's on the page, it pinpoints the problems, and then it replans the content. It even sketches out how the mobile layout should look instead. So the plain web chat is a lot like a consultant. It helps you think clearly about what needs to change. But once it's done talking, the person who actually goes in and makes the changes is still probably you. Operation 2 is where it starts to feel like it's actually doing the work for me. This time, I don't ask it, what features does GPT 5.6 have? Because that just gets me another essay to read. Instead, I open 3 official pages myself, and then I name the exact deliverable I want. 1 comparison table plus a 5-page slide deck, not a summary. The finished thing. And what you'll see is that work can jump between different tabs, pull the information it needs, organize it, and then turn it into something you can actually open and edit. This is the whole idea behind work. It can chain multi-step tasks across your connected apps, things like Slack, Google Drive, and Microsoft Office, and keep running for a long stretch, not just answer one message. This is the biggest difference between chat and work. Chat is like saying, I have a question. Work is like dropping a pile of material on someone's desk and saying, have this organized before the meeting tomorrow morning. And here's the part I really like. Inside the desktop app, it and I are looking at the exact same screen. If it opens the wrong page, I can stop it. If the data looks off, I can immediately steer it in a new direction right there in real time. So it's not hiding somewhere in the background quietly making a mess. It feels a lot more like a new employee sitting next to you, one whose screen you can watch the entire time. Operation 3. This is the one programmers will feel the most. It's called Codex. In the old days, when you asked an AI to fix your website, the classic thing that happened was this. It fixes the first bug and then throws in 3 brand new ones, completely free of charge. That happened because it was only ever looking at the code. It couldn't actually see what the website looked like when it was running live in a browser, so this time I didn't just ask it to fix the responsive layout. I told it to first open a browser, actually reproduce the problem, find the real cause, make the change, and then retest both the mobile view and the desktop view before telling me it's done. Notice that order. It's not just guessing a chunk of code and hoping. It sees the problem first, actually does the work, and then checks its own result at the end. That is a genuinely different way of working. But I do have to warn you, just because the AI says it's finished does not mean there are really no problems left. Before you ship anything to real users, you still have to test it yourself. Trust, but verify. And finally, the one everyone's been talking about. Ultra. Now, GPT 5.6 has 2 heavier modes. There's Max mode, which just gives one agent a lot more thinking time for a hard problem, and then there's Ultra. Ultra is different. In normal mode, it's one single AI doing the whole job from start to finish. Ultra, by default, coordinates 4 agents working in parallel, and they're actually allowed to talk to each other while they work. So I split the task into 4 lanes. One checks the mobile layout, one checks the SEO, one checks accessibility, and one checks performance. And then, at the end, it merges all 4 reports into a single prioritized list. In plain English, it used to be like hiring one all-rounder employee. Now that employee suddenly spins up a group chat and starts handing tasks out to other coworkers. It stops being one worker and starts being a small team. But be warned, Ultra is really a time lever, not a magic quality button. 4 agents doing the work of one means it burns through a lot more of your usage. On the Plus plan, you can run Ultra inside Codex, but Ultra inside Work needs Pro or Enterprise, so it's powerful, but it's not free power. So let's talk about which plan actually makes sense for you without the sales pitch. Here's the honest breakdown. On the free tier, you do not get Sol and Chat, you get a lighter model. The moment you go Plus, your normal chat is already running on Sol, the flagship. So on Plus, you're not paying to unlock some secret better model later, you already have the good one. Pro and Enterprise mostly add higher limits and the heavier work features on top. So if you mostly chat, ask questions, and do light analysis, Plus is genuinely the meaningful step, and it's plenty. But if you want the AI to build real deliverables across files and tools, or to touch your desktop directly and run Ultra and Work, that's when Pro or Enterprise start to pay for themselves. Match the plan to the job, not to the hype. One more thing, because I promised I'd come back to it. Permissions. When the desktop app asks to control your browser or your files, read what it's asking for. There's an approve on my behalf mode that lets it run routine edits without stopping to ask every time. That's convenient. But there's also a full access mode, and that one is basically unlimited access to your whole machine. Do not hand that out casually. So here's why GPT 5.6 actually matters, and it's not because it scored a few more points on some exam. It's that the way we hand work to an AI has changed. Web chat is for analysis and planning. Desktop work is for pulling across websites, files, and tools to build one complete result. And Codex can actually change real code and then check the real screen. We used to ask, how should this thing be done? Now you can just say, this is the result I want, go make it happen, and check your own work when you're finished. That's a real shift in who's doing the doing. And as for Luna, this time around, at least it's being used to save some tokens and not to test how strong your heart is. If this helped you make sense of it, you know what to do. I'm just a little miner digging away. See you in the next video.